Welcome everyone to the sixth and the final episode of season 1 of SecureDApp's X-clusive, a groundbreaking 6-week Web3 innovation series. I'm Karan, your host for today, and we'll be having a really engaging conversation with our host for today, our guest for today, Luke. So,
Thanks,
let
Graham.
me
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm Karan, your host for today, and I'm thrilled to have you all joining us for this live webinar. Whether you are tuning in from India or around the globe, thank you for being part of our mission to illuminate the blockchain landscape. Today, we have got an incredible session lined up. We'll dive deep into a timely and important topic and answer your burning questions. So stick around, participate, and make this a fantastic experience. For those who don't know me, I'm Karan Sontake, Assistant Manager, Business Development and Growth at SecureDApp. I'm an engineer and an MBA. My passion is bridging the gap between cutting edge technology solutions and Web3 community. I'm excited to bring you insights from today's session. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest for today. We are incredibly fortunate to have with us Luke Sullivan. Luke is the co founder of ChainMart. Welcome, Luke. Nice to have you.
Thanks a lot, Karan. How are you?
Yeah, great, Luke. Great. So, the topic of today's webinar is ChainMart Unlocking Business Value with Enterprise Blockchain. Let's dive right into our discussion. Are you ready, Luke?
Absolutely.
So, let's get started with your journey. So, Luke, we would love to hear about your path. What was your career like before co-founding ChainMart, and how did your past experiences in partnerships prepare you for this venture?
Sure. Someone like myself, I think when you look at different businesses all across the world, all different varieties of startups, you have different founders that have come from different backgrounds, right? Whether that's sales, engineering, product design. Myself, I'm actually someone that's from a very sales focused backgrounds. I spent around and have spent around 6 years working within recruitment, actually, working mostly with enterprise businesses around the world, building engineering teams. So working with guys very closely, building front end, back end, full stack teams. My specialty was within DevOps and cloud engineering. Also touched upon security as well. Some of the organizations that I worked very closely with were the likes of Goldman Sachs, JP, Morgan Stanley's of the world. Done huge amounts of work with Silicon Valley Bank, National Hockey League as well. But also worked with a number of different startups as well, right? Ranging from Series A to Series F in capital. But I've been someone that's always been interested within cryptocurrency as a whole. But I wanted to understand cryptocurrency more on a deeper level in terms of what were the technologies behind crypto as a whole, and where else could these technologies be used around the world. And that's, as we all know, blockchain technology. So that's really where my background has come from. And I think a lot of the skills that I've learned across recruitment, across building relationships, to answer your question, Karen, on that one, have I still use today. So there's a lot of skills that I've brought on from my previous experience that I'm obviously using here at ChainMart.
Right. So, can you share the specific experience or insight that led you to realize the significant need for a platform like ChainMart?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've got another co-founder, Matthew, who myself and Matthew have always had an interest within blockchain and cryptocurrency as a whole, and specifically blockchain use cases in terms of where blockchain can be used and in what businesses around the world, and the advantages and the benefits that it can also bring to businesses. Now, we met our CEO at ChainMart, who is Richard Hibbert, who's actually coming from an enterprise software background, software as a service specifically, where he didn't understand the impact and the advantages blockchain could bring initially into the enterprise world. Now, we discussed a variety of different use cases with Richard on this, and the realization and his understanding grew. the more we got to know him, the more we spoke about blockchain, and the more that he learned. So this is where that has really come from, Karen.
Right. So, what unique insights from your past experiences do you find most critical to building ChainMart, Duke?
I think really, great question, actually. I really think that's come from a B2B sales background, right? I think selling the value and not the technology is extremely valuable. I think that there's a lot of businesses that are out there, especially within the Web3 and the blockchain world. Not all businesses, but I think a lot of them get so caught up with selling the technology and the decentralization and a lot of over complex jargon that's around. And obviously, a lot of enterprise businesses that are out there and businesses around the world really want to see results. They want to save money and they want to streamline. That's really what you should be selling to businesses, not necessarily what the technology can do, but what it can bring and how it can solve solutions.
Right. So, are you in favor of market-led growth or product-led growth, Luke? Because what the market says, building product as per it, or first build a product and then try to sell it. So, you are favor.
Sure. Yeah. I think, going back and looking back at, obviously ChainMart, it's kind of, we haven't kind of planned ChainMart and planning to launch, within 6 months. It's been a, long-winded process in terms of the thought process behind building ChainMart. You're going out to market as well. You're speaking to businesses that are out there. And I think actually following up on your point there, you have to be able to sell something to an audience before you build it. Otherwise, it will be a waste of money. I think that market research is extremely important when building a product or offering a service. You need to go out there to speak to your target audiences. Is this something that they actually want? Is this something that people are going to buy into? So you really have to go out and speak to your audience. If you don't, then you're at huge risk of building something, spending a lot of money on something that people don't want. So I think that's critical for any startup to go out there, speak to your target audience, sell what you're going to build, and then build.
Right. So let's talk a bit about the big picture. What do you see as the biggest misconception businesses have about blockchain, and how does ChainMart address that head on?
I think businesses that are outside of the blockchain and the Web3 world actually perceive blockchain to be just related with crypto or gaming, or at least best, maybe even DeFi, maybe cross-border payments. But they don't actually see how smart contracts actually create such massive opportunity for automation, for minimal trust, or actually how real-world asset tokenization can actually disrupt existing business practices, right? At ChainMart, we address this by actually educating, guiding the business leaders about the actual true value of blockchain and what it's actually bringing to businesses, and actually how Web3 can help streamline businesses. I feel that a marketplace is something that is needed out there. I'm really looking forward to speaking more on that and taking you through the actual model itself.
Right. So, can you tell a bit about ChainMart before we proceed with some interesting questions? We're going to ask you about ChainMart.
Yeah, absolutely. We're building a global B2B marketplace designed to connect enterprise businesses and businesses around the world, actually, with vendors across the blockchain ecosystem. Now, this is all driven by high quality content. We're building a platform where individuals across the blockchain world, whether if you're someone within business development like yourself, whether if you're someone within product design, marketing, can actually publish high quality content in articles, workshops, training courses, videos, podcasts even, and actually be rewarded for what you do. There'll be sponsorship opportunities for creators. There'll be royalty opportunities as well. And what this does is guides businesses through a marketplace and located trusted vendors, across the blockchain ecosystem. Now, what will vendors gain from ChainMart? Vendors will have their own storefront. They'll be able to advertise and showcase the services and solutions that they offer in a way that businesses are familiar with. They'll have generations of leads. They'll have intent buying data. They'll have a range of more analytics as well. And they'll also have the ability to reach out to businesses who potentially have the intent in purchasing a type of service or product that they offer. For businesses, this is actually a platform where businesses can come to locate vendors in a way that, as mentioned earlier, they're familiar with. They'll be able to see past reviews, past projects, ratings, pricing. This is something that they can't see currently across the blockchain world. It's extremely misty, and we're looking to demystify the blockchain world for the business world to make it a lot more easily adoptable, but also to build a platform where businesses and even individuals can come to learn and understand about where blockchain can be implemented and be used across different businesses and different industries as well.
Right. So talking about the development vision, how has the initial vision for ChainMart evolved since you began development, particularly in the response to market feedback and real world needs?
I mean, early on, I think we identified a virtuous circle of of creators being rewarded for generating demand from businesses by educating them on the actual value of blockchain. And vendors being rewarded by selling their solutions that they're offering, their services, their products. Each party between vendors and creators actually benefit. And this is what actually creates a flywheel effect across the marketplace itself. Now, the more creators, the more businesses are in demand and the more vendors are there. And the cycle just repeats itself. Our focus right now, I would probably say, is probably more like walking the talk, to be honest with you. Producing on-chain features that support the community and showcase the business value of blockchain as a whole.
No, this is just, you have to press it in.
Yeah. Luke, a couple of months back, you were asking the businesses to fill a particular form. Can you please explain more about that? Register yourself and something like that.
Or could you repeat the question? Sorry there, Karan.
So, few months back, ChainMart had published some forms to register some businesses. Can you talk us more about that?
Yeah, sure. So recently, we're currently still in beta at the moment. So we're in a beta stage of the platform currently. We obviously have our product, our platform launching in early October. Being within that itself, speaking to numbers of vendors like yourself, SecureDApp's, lots of other different vendors as well, all across different areas of blockchain. We were really speaking to increase subscribers, even to really kind of build to build a list of vendors, to build a list of different subscribers, and really to gain exposure. Obviously, as mentioned, going back to what you mentioned to me earlier on as well. On that, you have to go out and really kind of keep speaking to your audience. So that would be the information there.
Right. So security is the key for any business solution. So how has ChainMart integrated security into its core design of its platform, and what specific measures are in place to protect against common vulnerabilities?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think security isn't something we bolt on at the end. I think a lot of businesses do that out there. It's designed from the very start. Okay, right now we use a permissionless based model where roles are essentially the collections of fine-grained attribute level permissions, right? So what that means, enterprises and businesses out there have a control access down to a very extremely precise level without actually losing the simplicity of role management. But we're not only just stopping there. we're actually moving towards what's called a relation-based access control, or maybe a reback if some people have heard of that. That lets us basically apply the rules that reflect real-world context. So, like for example, a vendor can update their own listings only if it hasn't been yet approved for publishing. So it's much more flexible and realistic model for enterprise governance out there. And on top of that as well, all sensitive data is fully encrypted, right? So it transits using the TLS and at rest with the AES as well. And more importantly, we store personally identifiable information, all off-chain inside a compliant region-specific data center. So why we do this is we meet with GDPR and residency requirements. Then there's obviously the blockchain layer itself, right? Which is a completely different layer. We follow smart contract best practices here, keeping designs modular, reducing actually attack surfaces as well, and actually always auditing before deployment. Now, we don't treat security, as a one-time event, right? We bring in third parties for regular pen testing as well. We monitor for emerging Web3 vulnerabilities that are out there, like re-entrancy or also signature spoofing as well.
Right. So, Luke, you talked about getting market feedback from various methods you told. And can you tell our audience how did you then integrate all this into ChainMart regarding its recent upgrades that you have made? I think 4 or 5 upgrades you had mentioned in your recent post. Can you enlighten us about that?
Yeah, for sure. So we've been working with an really experienced and a great UI and UX team, right? They're experienced software developers and engineers as well. But we also want the platform to be accessible for people that are also unfamiliar with Web3, right? So I think the process of what you've just asked there and the actual development of it itself, we've had to really think about in the process prior to that. And especially our methodology when going forward within development and all across development and product.
Right. So, can you tell a bit about what upgrades were there? Like, can you list us some upgrades that we can now go on to see on your website, which were not there earlier? Like,
Absolutely. I mean, feel free to check the website, whoever's listening right now, www.chainmart.io. What you'll see across our website is a really detailed roadmap that really breaks down the features in terms of what we're going to be building, the on-chain features as well, extreme features as well across creators, across vendors, and across businesses. Obviously, this is all in the pipeline at the moment, guys, in terms of what we're building. We're obviously launching the platform early October, which is really, really exciting. And we're really focusing on creators initially, right? In terms of really onboarding guys and having guys that can create content initially. We look to have storefronts launched very, very soon as well, not too far after October. And it's an extremely exciting time. We look to really be the cornerstone of global adoption around the world. We also look to be a place where individuals can come to learn, to understand, to create, to locate, and to really be a part of our growing ecosystem.
right. So, Luke, how are you ensuring the platform is user-friendly for business owners who may not be Web3 natives?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned earlier on, we're working with a really, really good UI and UX team, right? They're a real good group of guys. They have some fantastic experience across enterprise software. But it's really important when building is to make it accessible for people that are unfamiliar with Web3, that are not from the Web3 or not from the blockchain world. And, one of the ways we're doing this is actually supporting account creation with Google or Apple. So we will use automatically created wallets as well behind the scenes, if the user wishes to, of course. And we're also accepting fiat payments and use the concept of payment abstraction to actually support the token itself. That way we actually ensure that there's always demand there.
Right. So, can you elaborate a bit? How does ChainMart then unlock business value with enterprise blockchain? How exactly does ChainMart envision to make this happen?
Yeah, sure. I think going back to, I want to speak, following on that from that question, I'd like to speak around the actual landscape itself of blockchain and Web3 and the difficulties that businesses have in terms of locating trusted vendors across the blockchain space. A lot of vendors that are out there across the blockchain and the Web3 world, there's a lot of over complexity used around language, which makes it very hard for businesses that are out there to understand what they do and what they offer and the solutions that they offer. There's also a lack of kind of pricing in terms of understanding what businesses offer in terms of pricing and breakdown. A lot of the communication is also done over kind of Telegram and Discord. And, look, I'm someone that uses Telegram. We actually have a Telegram group as well across ChainMart. But for businesses that are out there that are traditional, let's say, they're not used to Telegram. They're not used to Discord. This is kind of not their world. So it makes it even harder. And I think as well, the blockchain and the Web3 world has, this typical kind of dark cloud that's over it, that's kind of associated with untrustworthiness, especially for guys that are outside of blockchain and Web3. So I really think that ChainMart will be a place where we can demystify that. It's a place where businesses will be able to come to locate vendors that, again, are vetted across ChainMart. This is somewhere where they can learn about blockchain and actually, going back to your question, unlock and understand what blockchain can bring for these businesses. So that's how I believe that we'll unlock true value, especially across enterprise businesses out there.
So, what has been the most significant technical or operational challenge you have faced so far in moving beyond crypto to create tangible business value?
Oh, could you repeat the question? Sorry there.
The most significant technical or operational challenge you have faced so far in moving beyond crypto to create tangible business value?
I'd probably say the biggest challenge is probably moving beyond that entire crypto mindset, okay, and showing real, actual, tangible business value here. Blockchain is often seen as technical and very abstract, or even just about tokens and speculation, right? Our job is to actually bridge that gap for businesses that are out there. Like, one example is actually payments, right? Most business leaders don't want to deal with crypto volatility or wallets at all. So we've had to design systems that support fiat payments and abstract away all the complexity while still keeping the benefits of Web3 under the hood. Now, another example here is actually user experience. A business owner shouldn't need and have to understand all of the blockchain jargon that comes with it to use our platform. All the long kind of terminology that's very hard to understand. So we focus really heavily on actually making ChainMart feel like a modern software as a service product, but while still delivering the advantages of decentralization. And then there's trust, right? Enterprises and businesses that are out there need to know that the vendors they find through us are reliable, right? They're trustworthy. These are real businesses. And that's why we put effort into actually vetting providers and actually highlighting real world use cases. That's really how, going back to your question and answer, that's, I would probably say, the biggest challenge. But then this all comes through education, which is extremely important and really kind of guides businesses through their buying journey.
Right. So, coming to the ecosystem, So, as you said, this is a collaborative space from the perspective of other Web3 vendors and service providers. How can they best partner with ChainMart to accelerate enterprise adoption?
So we actually are currently working very closely with a number of businesses and also ambassadors that are out there as well. Right now, I won't be able to throw you too many kind of names or businesses out there that we're currently working with and partnering with. But what this is designed to actually license each other's technologies and services, and also support and grow each other's ecosystems. That's really the goal in terms of partnerships at ChainMart, specifically focused on ambassadors and also businesses as well, partnering with them on a strategic level.
So, so when you first engage with a business, what is the single most compelling value proposition you lead with? Is it cost,
Sure,
transparency, or something else entirely?
sure. I'd probably say for a business, it's efficiency that comes from automation that blockchain and minimal trust provide, right? Which really I'd say ultimately leads to cost savings or increases in productivity, I'd say.
Right. So, Luke, can you tell us how big is your team working with you? With
Yeah, sure. So I've got a head of technology who's great with what they do. You know, carries around 25 years of back end experience. You know, works also closely across the DevOps environments and also cloud environments and infrastructure as well. You know, he brings some fantastic experience to ChainMart. Obviously, got myself as you all know. You know, coming from a very sales background. I've got my other co-founder Matthew, who's actually coming from a crypto analysis background, who again is very passionate about enterprise and business adoption out there for you know, for blockchain technology. And then we've got Richard Hibbert, who is coming from a very enterprise software background in terms of what he brings to ChainMart. So yeah, we're a really good team. You know, we're a strong team. We bring a lot of knowledge to the business itself, which is super exciting.
you're also the head of partnerships, also, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, great. So, the rise of Web3, Luke, has empowered creators in new ways. How does a
Mhm.
platform like ChainMart enable creators to interact with and derive value from an enterprise ecosystem?
Sure. I think, look, I think creators in any business is really, really important. You know, creators have a real business opportunity here at Chainmart, firstly, right? You know, they'll be rewarded with tokens for original content. Secondly, content is the cornerstone of B2B marketing. And we will really look to monetize creator content through sponsorships, through advertising, through even paid royalties as well. And not only this, but the creator will also be able to retain ownership of the content and all the features, um, such as royalty streams, etc. And some point in the future, they'll actually be able to trade on a secondary market as well. Finally, I think, you know, they may wish to market and sell their services or training courses like a vendor. So going back to what I mentioned earlier around personas of ChainMart, you know, you could have a creator that's publishing high quality content on, for example, smart contracts or using Solidity. They may want to publish videos. They may then want to start selling what they're doing and marketing out their own store within their own storefront. And then they'll transition to more of a vendor where they're actually selling this on a secondary market. So, you know, I believe that there'll be a numbers of different personas across Jmart, and I want to follow up on that as well, where, you know, you won't just have businesses that are buying from vendors, but I'll also think you'll have vendors buying from vendors as well across Chainmart. So yeah, it's an exciting platform.
Yeah. So, is there any particular region that ChainMart is eyeing, like
So
Middle East or something like that?
yeah, great question. I think I've got a lot of businesses that have really bought into ChainMart that are waiting to be onboarded currently, which is super, super exciting. This ranges from all different types of areas across blockchain. I've got a couple of layer twos, I've got tokenization companies, I've got smart contract auditing companies, I've got consultancies, I've got law firms that are also really interested in ChainMart that are offering like a type of cryptocurrency regulation service. So I believe that the actual landscape was really broad in terms of the businesses that, you know, really see an advantage on being a vendor on ChainMart, which is great.
Right. So, how do you balance the needs of these diverse stakeholders, like vendors, businesses, and creators, to create a network effect?
Yeah, I think they all work in harmony, right? And as explained earlier, vendors will ultimately pay subscriptions to market their solutions. Some which finds its way back to actually creators in token rewards or over time in even fiat payments as well. You know, businesses get tangible business value from blockchain and Web3 solutions across ChainMart.
Right. So, regarding business adoption, let's get into the nitty-gritty of adoption a bit. What are the top three hurdles you see for businesses adopting blockchain, and how does ChainMart specifically overcome them?
Yeah, I think many businesses actually already understand the value of blockchain that's already out there. And as we know, we've seen a number of different use cases that are out there of businesses using it. But they find it really difficult to actually source trustworthy vendors or actually learn about like the next big thing that's out there. You know, for other businesses out there that I've actually physically spoken to as well, it's actually education and protecting them from wallets and ensuring that they're actually not exposed to volatile cryptocurrencies for payments. But I believe that, you know, a lot of the hurdles across adoption, especially for businesses out there, I believe it's a lack of education. From what I've, you know, from businesses that I've spoke to, I believe that they're not educated and there's not much guidance currently on that for businesses. If that answers your question.
Right. So, education, as in, can you like elaborate this a bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe that that's around guidance. I believe that's about learning and understanding that blockchain doesn't just mean Bitcoin, or blockchain isn't related and just related to meme coins that are out there, or all kind of pump and dumps that you see on the market. You know, blockchain actually has a use case and it can be used for many different and areas of a business that's out there. But how the communication is between the Web3 world and the blockchain world to the business world, there is a divide between the two worlds. What we're trying to do at ChainMart, and part of one of our main purposes, is to actually bridge that gap between the Web2 world and the Web3 world.
Right. So, so how do you plan to measure the success of ChainMart in terms of actual business value, not just tokenomics or transaction volume?
Great question. You know, our purpose is to, you know, accelerate Web3 adoption here, as we believe it's the mirroring equitable way of doing business, right? So a key measure that will be in blockchain adoption rates is a result of trading on ChainMart, having vendors transact with businesses, having creators register, subscribe, and also publish content as well. So we believe that it will be down to our measurables across ChainMart as a platform and as an ecosystem.
Right. So, you said that there are some concerns of businesses. So, how do you address the concerns of businesses regarding data privacy and regulatory compliance on a public or permissioned blockchain?
Yeah. So we're a Web3 business. All personally identifiable information, data is actually stored on chain and in compliant data centers as well. So what we're doing here is we're respecting both the data privacy and also the residency requirements of our customers as well.
Right. So how big is the blockchain scenario in UK? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Or could you repeat that question? Sorry.
Blockchain
Correct.
scenario in the UK?
Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of really interesting blockchain businesses actually appear across the UK, especially in London. But I definitely think, you know, blockchain is obviously growing here. I'm seeing and speaking to some fantastic societies as well across different universities here in the UK, which is great. That that are allowing and really promoting blockchain and to study blockchain and its use cases and how powerful it can be. So I believe that's really, really encouraging for the blockchain industry, especially in the UK. But, you know, there are also other places around the world that I would probably say are ahead versus to the UK. You know, such places as obviously, as we all know, the Bay Area. You know, you've obviously got Miami's actually really expanding its blockchain capabilities and businesses coming out of Miami. Obviously, you've got the Dubai's of the world, the Singapores of the world as well that are, I would probably say, ahead versus to London. But I really believe London and the UK as a whole is growing and expanding across blockchain.
Right. So beyond the technology itself, what is the biggest non-technical challenge, such as cultural or
Yeah.
organizational resistance that you have encountered?
Yeah, I think going back to what I mentioned earlier as well, you know, I speak to a lot of businesses daily, and I believe, you know, one of the main points here is probably just the lack of education and the guidance on blockchain. They struggle to understand the value it actually brings. A lot of businesses, not all businesses, but there's businesses that also don't like change, and there's guidance that's needed for change to happen. Like I say, they need to be guided on this. I think a lot of businesses out there, which I've spoken to, find it hard to take risks sometimes, or don't want to take risks, or it may take a long time for that risk to happen. But all in all, I think that what the power of blockchain and what it can bring for businesses, a lot, you know, there's many businesses around the world that don't fully understand that.
Right. So you might have to give some examples of successful adoptions, like the businesses have adopted in financial or supply chain. So in order to convince the people about the power of blockchain,
Yeah, yeah. I think, you know, going back to what you've just said there, and I think it's really leading from the front in terms of actually showing different use cases, explaining different use cases from, say, the luxury goods industry, for them that have adopted NFTs to authenticate and verify certain products, or maybe even watches that's going through their supply chain that they're selling. You know, there's businesses out there using blockchain technology, but we're still, you know, at a fairly low penetration in terms of what it will be and where it will be at. So guidance is still key. It needs to be there. But there are many different use cases that are out there that have been extremely successful, which is great for the blockchain industry. But more use cases need to obviously happen.
so, talking about the market and its future for ChainMart, what's your strategy for getting your first major business clients on board and building that initial network effect?
So right now, our focus really is ambassadors and also strategic partners. As mentioned earlier, you know, we believe, you know, we're building a platform that ambassadors would really benefit from, and also businesses out there on a strategic partner level where we can leverage their technologies that they use, but they can also leverage our network and our platform as well. And we believe that works in, you know, in a close-knitted relationship. That's our go-to market in regards to, you know, really closing and getting our first major business clients on board.
Right. So, how do you see ChainMart contributing to the
Yeah.
broader enterprise blockchain landscape over the next 3 to 5 years?
I mean, just like other platforms out there, right? You've got the Amazons of the world, the eBays of the world, the Alibabas of the world as well, that have actually revolutionized traditional commerce. Okay. The blockchain era demands its own transformative marketplace, one that actually redefines trust, speed, decentralization as well. Now, ChainMart is reimagining B2B commerce, but for the blockchain era, for the new era, not just as a marketplace or anything like that as a business, but also as a movement. Now, at its core is a content-driven ecosystem, as explained, where businesses are educated about the transformative value of blockchain through actually creator-led storytelling. Now, these creators are fairly and also transparently rewarded via tokenized incentives, right? Ensuring authenticity and also engagement as well. Now, ChainMart's on-chain services streamline e-commerce processes, right? So while still actually maintaining minimal trust principles without the need for actually any intermediaries. Now, this means it's a level playing field now, and it's actually fair. And we believe, and one of our core values is actually spreading a fairer business world. And we believe and we know that blockchain can do that, actually allowing smaller vendors to compete alongside larger vendors with a secure, verifiable transactions. So this is more than just an infrastructure. This is actually a new way of how businesses connect, how businesses collaborate, and grow in actually a decentralized world.
Right. So this is the second last question before we open up for the audience questions. So what is the business opportunity do you see for ChainMart to make a global impact, Luke?
I think, for this is providing a platform for actually Web3 vendors to reach new markets. A lot of businesses, a lot of vendors that I've actually spoke to that are out there, a lot of the motivations, and it's always very important for myself to understand business motivations that are out there and what they want to do. A lot of motivations that I've heard all kind of cross each other, whether that's growing to new geographical areas, expanding the business, wanting to grow their business customer base that's not in the Web3 world, more focused on Web2, maybe expand their enterprise customer base, maybe. A lot of the motivations have really been very similar. And we believe that ChainMart can do that for businesses that are out there.
Right. So coming to the last question before we open it up for the audience questions. So Luke, in what ways do you believe blockchain will redefine the future of commerce for businesses?
I think through trustless and minimal trust concepts, right? A game changing will introduce new business models that, again, we haven't seen today. I mean, imagine different legal entities working seamlessly together on a project by project basis. I think what blockchain can do and bring is really interesting. I believe many different businesses that are out there, whether if you're a extremely small business or a large global national business, I believe blockchain can really benefit your business in not just one way, but many different ways. And like I've mentioned, they all need somewhere to go to adopt and locate and learn about blockchain, and ChainMart will be, we plan for it to be that place.
So let's open up for the audience questions a bit.
Wicked.
So there's a question: how does ChainMart prove real ROI, not just tech hype? They are saying.
Or could you repeat that question? Sorry.
So basically, they are asking how does ChainMart prove the businesses that ChainMart will bring actual ROI?
Bring return of investment to
the
vendor itself.
To the vendors.
Sure. I think good question, right? I think when, firstly, you're a startup, right? There has to be an element of, trust there, right? I don't want to, say to you, I don't want to say to you that you're going to get, thousands of leads in the first year, right? I think when you're a startup, you have to kind of trust what you're building. So what we're looking for is trust and yourself buying into ChainMart as a whole and buying into the platform specifically, and what we're building and what we're bringing to the world. I don't want to promise you something and it doesn't happen. I think that we want to be true to businesses. We want to be fair to businesses. But we would hope, and it's in our favor and also your favor as well, for you to gain a generation of leads, gain intent buying data, gain traction across different businesses, expand what you do and expand the services and the offerings that you have. And also for yourself as a creator specifically, this is a platform where you can tokenize your content and publish your content and sell this as well. Hopefully that answers your question.
Right. So, let's see. Some good questions we can take. How do you handle changing regulations in different markets?
Great question. I will get back to you on that. We're actually working very closely with legal advisor we've just onboarded, who we're actually announcing in around a week and a half to 2 weeks time, so not too far away. So keep in contact on that one. And we're actually working on that around legal boundaries in different jurisdictions. So we're actually getting around that one. I won't be able to answer that one just yet, but I'll probably be able to answer that in the next couple of weeks. If whoever asked that wanted to reach out to me directly, feel free.
Yeah. So there's a question asking, which group is the hardest to win over? Vendors, businesses, or creators?
I would probably say businesses. I think that, look, I really like to use the analogy of, if I said to you, let's go down the road to the restaurant and get some food and drink, but there's no food and drink in the restaurant, you'd probably say, no, I don't want to go with you, Luke, right? That's the exact same analogy for businesses that are out there. They don't want to come to a platform where there's no vendors, there's no content, there's no education. This is why our go-to-market is so important in focusing on the stakeholders of creators and vendors initially, prior to businesses. Once we have vendors and once we have creators that will be on ChainMart, businesses will then come to locate vendors, to learn, to understand. And then you've got that flywheel effect of a marketplace specifically. I would definitely say businesses to answer that question. And like I say, it goes back to a lot on like lack of education, not knowing what blockchain can bring, just a kind of a very narrow perspective of what blockchain is, or just being it related to Bitcoin or meme coins, even when we all know it's not. So I'd probably say businesses, 100%.
Yeah. So there's a quite a funny question, or maybe controversial type as well. So what's the toughest pushback that you had from businesses?
Is in businesses or vendors, or
Any vendors or businesses?
really good question. I'm just trying to go through my conversations that I've had. Hardest pushback, I would probably say, is probably not a business saying that they probably see no value in ChainMart in terms of what we're doing and bringing. But I would probably say, because right now we're at a point in time where our product hasn't launched yet, in terms of the full tech, the full on-chain facilities isn't there yet. So it's very hard to obviously, prove to people that, and to prove specifically to businesses, right? When you don't have a product just yet. We're in beta at the moment, but it's not obviously the full product. It's not the storefront. It's not the creation of content and the curating of content either. Obviously, that's not there just yet, but it will be there, and that's when it will be super, super exciting times.
Right. Rahul is asking, in 5 years, what do you want ChainMart to be known for?
Good question, Raul. I would like and would want ChainMart to be known to be the cornerstone of global adoption around the world for blockchain technology. And also to be the #1 learning platform for blockchain for businesses around the world as well. And to also be a platform where creators are publishing content in videos, workshops, training courses, selling modules to different businesses. There's sponsorships, opportunities, there's royalties across the platform. Creators will be able to compete against each other on a leaderboard form very soon as well, where there's even more opportunity to earn more rewards. And what this does is, going back to what I mentioned earlier, this guides the businesses through their buying journey. It allows them to be guided into what vendors and services are out there that businesses can adopt.
A follow-up question to this that comes to my mind. So, like in 5 years, Rahul has asked what ChainMart would be known for. Would you? How will you stop yourself from making this educational module of yours into like big modules such as Coursera? There must be some borderline or some stage like you need to stop yourself so that the other two aspects of vendors and businesses are not taken over by the educational aspect.
No, I think going back to that, I mean, you've got creators that are publishing content on ChainMart, right? If you're a creator and you're publishing content, obviously that content is tokenized, it's stored on chain. You actually own what you do with that piece of content. But that will just be on ChainMart. And we're also looking to pay some fantastic rewards, to make it lucrative for a creator on ChainMart. Obviously, you've got other platforms that are out there, some good platforms that are out there that you can publish high quality content on, but the rewards are very minimal. Okay, these aren't rewards that are going to keep creators. These aren't rewards that's really going to wow a creator. We want the experience of ChainMart for each stakeholder to be a really good experience. I believe that it's really important you need to give your the types of stakeholders that you have, whether if they're using your service or product, to keep them on a platform, you need to give them a good experience. And that's what we want to do at ChainMart.
Right. So coming to the last question. So what makes ChainMart different from other platforms like ChainMart, if there are any?
Sure. I think going back to, obviously competitors that are out there, you've obviously got the AWS marketplace, right? That has limited blockchain coverage. You've got the Clutches of the world that has limited blockchain coverage. ChainMart is a go-to marketplace for blockchain adoption. Everything that we do, everything that will be on ChainMart is blockchain focused, whether that's for regulation or compliance, whether that's for obviously within blockchain, whether that's focused towards smart contract auditing or tokenization or real world assets or NFTs. These are all use case focused, right? So number one, I don't believe that there's a platform out there that you can go to currently where you can learn and understand about blockchain on a use case level. Number two, we want to, yes, we're built on chain, but we want the experience, and the experience will feel like, especially for guys that are outside of Web3, it will be a seamless experience where it's not difficult to understand. It's very easily to navigate across ChainMart to locate vendors in a G2 Captera way that businesses out there are used to, but that's focused on the Web3 industry instead.
Right. So So this brings us towards the end of the session. Luke, thank you so much for
Pleasure,
joining
Karan.
us today and
Pleasure, Karan.
sharing
Thanks for
your
having me. Appreciate
incredible.
it.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible insights on
Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
ChainMart, unlocking business value with enterprise blockchain. This was a topic. So your expertise has given us a lot to think about and act upon. Any final words for our audience, Luke?
No, thank you all for joining. Appreciate your appreciate you joining, listening to myself and ChainMart's purpose and why we're here. Feel free to keep a lookout for ChainMart guys as well. If you want to go and check out our website, it's www.chainmart.io. Feel free to subscribe as well, and keep a lookout for early October.
So we hope to have you back soon, Luke, in season two.
Absolutely.
In season
Sure.
2 of SecureDApp's exclusive. And
Wicked.
so this brings us to the end of season 1 of SecureDApp's exclusive. A huge thank you to all of you, our amazing audience, for tuning in and making this exclusive session of ours so interactive. Your engagement drives our mission at SecureDApp to build a safer digital India. For our viewers, if you found this conversation valuable, please remember us to like this video and subscribe to SecureDApp's YouTube channel for more deep dives into world of blockchain and Web3. Your engagement helps us bring more expert insights like Luke has given to you. We'll be back with season 2 of SecureDApp's exclusive, inspiring guests and new topics. You don't want to miss it. And stay safe online. Keep exploring the Web3 and blockchain landscape. And we'll see you next season. On behalf of SecureDApp, this is your host, Karan, signing off. Take care.